Okay, I've gotten a little bit ahead of where we were at previously. And what I've done is I've installed the landing gear. And I know some of you are going to say, oh look, he put the rear cross mount on backwards. Well, there's a reason I do this. As you can see, it spreads the cross tubes apart a little bit more, and it also makes it a little more stable when you don't have any weight on the front from a battery. So now the aircraft will actually sit here and not be sitting on the tail. I went ahead and mounted the HD2218 servo for the tail rotor. It's a really small servo, 0.09 millisecond speed, which is more than adequate for a tail rotor servo, and it's got 2.2 kilograms of torque. So it's really a great servo for the tail rotor, and it's only 18 bucks. So you can't beat it. Yet another item I got from Hobby City. As you can see, the servo horn is 90 degrees in relation to the servo. I put on the ball links, and I ensured that this is exactly even with the mount. So it's basically 90 degrees as well. So this is pretty well all set up. I have the tail rotor guides on here, and what you'll do to set the tail rotor guides in place, slide a small wire tie underneath, slide it over, snip it off, and that'll tighten that right up. But as you can see, they don't bind. The rod's nice and straight. For the servo mounts, the hardware that comes with this is really weak, so I use the servo screws on all 4 spots. It's got a little bit bigger washer on it as well, and it tightens up really well. So the tail rotor servo's definitely in place. And I went ahead and put the rear fin on. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop our Asan GA410 gyro on here. This is very similar to a 401. Of course, I'm not sure the performance is as good, but for $49, this gyro really works well. It even does real well in the cold. It drifts about the same in freezing temperatures as my 401 did. So I've already put the double-sided sticky tape on here. I don't recommend mounting your gyro on the top. RD Lore makes a really nice bottom mount, which puts the gyro under here and puts it in a place to where it's not going to get hit with anything. But for now, we're just going to mount it on the top. And we'll just remove the tape. It even gives you orientation as to which side's the top. You've got a pot for gain if you're not using remote gain, and your reverse switch. So we'll just line that up nice and straight and stick it right down on there. And I'd let it sit for a little while so the glue takes real well. Next thing we'll do, I'm going to install the anti-rotation link for the swash plate. Then we'll connect all our rods up. We'll put a receiver on here and a battery, and we'll get all of our servos centered up on our radio. So then we can make the adjustments to where the swash plate, your main rotor pitches at 0 degrees at half stick, and I'll go more in depth into that. Pretty much everything else is self-explanatory as far as the build. Your tail boom supports, some medium CA, put it on there, mount them in, your rear fin and the bracket. What I do on this bracket is I just cut this piece off. They want this rod to go through it, but I've had nothing but problems with that, so I'll snip this piece right off, and we'll get the other fin mounted, we'll get the tail boom supports mounted, and then we'll start talking about the radio setup. We'll get the fly bar installed with the paddles, battery tray, and we'll be getting really close to going out and giving it a test fly.